Thanksgiving, the time of year when you gather around with family to avoid politics and eat turkey, the perfect time of year for Bachelorette hometowns, as Michelle will be meeting her Final Four's folks this next coming episode. And like many a Thanksgiving dinners, this one will likely be ending with tears. So let's take a look at this preview for week 7 of the Bachelorette Hometowns week to see what we can find out and who looks to be headed home at the end of the episode. And as per usual, please refrain from posting any blatant spoilers in the comment section unless it involves sleuthing, and a link to the full preview is in the description.
Oh my god.
It is hometown.
I'm really excited.
This is the pivotal week.
When you know it's real, you know it's real. I don't think I've ever seen this happen.
So the first hometown date of the preview is Rodney's. He'll be leading Michelle on an apple-picking date, just like Michelle talked about in her poem. We bring this poem up every week, but for reference, or if you're new to these videos, here's what Michelle said.
I was never the girl invited to dates at the apple orchard in the fall. I was the girl picked last for prom, but the first for basketball.
And Rodney inviting Michelle apple picking is extra special not just because of what Michelle said in the poem, but because it also comes after the week where Martin put down Michelle as immature for not getting past the things that she said in that poem. But with men like Rodney taking her to the apple orchard and later Joe taking her to prom, this will hopefully bring things around and help Michelle feel seen. Now here in this shot, we can see that the gang is still in Minnesota, with Michelle and Tayshia revisiting the Stone Arch Bridge that the guys started the trip at. You know, the part where they all yelled out Michelle's name. Michelle! And all through the season, I've been playing off the idea that, with there being travel this season, the hometown dates might actually be taking place in the men's hometowns. But nope, hometowns are staying in Minnesota. Now, I'm mainly bringing this up to address this date with Brandon that I talked about last preview breakdown, but the footage from that date is actually right ahead in this preview, so let's keep going and talk about it after.
Now I get to show her a whole different side of me.
Michelle, will you go to prom with me?
Yes.
Alright, so there's Joe's prom date with Michelle for his hometown, likely at Hopkins High, where Joe went to high school as he's from Minnesota, but let's double back to this date with Brandon. Last week I'd mentioned that this date might be happening on the upcoming one-on-one with Brandon because we had sleuthed out that this skate park was in Minnesota and not Mexico for after hometowns. Instead, Brandon put on Michelle's dad's swim trunks and they made out in mom and dad's hot tub. But it looks like this date with Brandon is going to happen next week. Now, on these hometown dates, before we meet the families, the guys take control of the date and give Michelle a taste of what it's like in their hometown. And with everything still taking place in one location, like with Tayshia's season and like with Katie's season, the men, except for Joe, will have to do their best to recreate that experience in Minnesota. According to their bios, Brandon here is from Portland, Oregon, Nate lives in Austin, Texas, though originally he's Canadian, and Rodney is from Rancho Cucamonga, California. Now, Nate's date is ahead, and that has another bit of footage that kind of tripped us up from the previews, so let's continue.
So you're head over heels, huh?
No, I'm crazy about you. You know that.
I have 4 incredibly strong connections.
The fact that she's dating other guys right now worries me.
Well, sounds like we're about to head into the drama section of the preview. But before we get there, we can see that this shot right here, a shot we've talked about a little bit in the preview breakdowns before, is actually going to be from Nate's hometown date. Here, Nate is going to be wearing what seems to be the only pair of swim trunks he owns. The same pair he's wearing in this Instagram shot paddleboarding. And this photo from Nate's Instagram was what originally prompted the thought that this shot right here could be their hometown date, as Nate paddleboarding in Austin is something that he could easily recreate here in Minnesota. Now, luckily for us, Nate does end up buying a new pair of swim trunks later on in the season, something that we used last week as evidence that he makes it into the final 2. Check out that video if you want the details on that. But for now, let's get into the drama ahead before we talk about eliminations and if there are any changes to the outlook for the rest of the season.
The fact that she's dating other guys right now worries me.
Do you really think that you could see yourself with my brother?
It brings tears to my eyes that he could be heartbroken.
Alright, pausing here to point out that this is Rodney's mom. We saw her earlier in the preview right here, with Michelle in her same outfit that she wears with Rodney in this shot. And this right here is Brandon's brother, as we once again can see from an earlier shot in the preview. So, like every hometown episode, there's going to be drama, and it almost always revolves around parents or family members or friends saying something like, "Do you think you're ready for this? But she's dating 3 other guys," or "You've only known each other for a few weeks." They pump up the drama in these previews for hometowns, but often the night actually ends on something like the parents saying, "We'll trust and support whatever decision insert name of child makes." But that's not always the case, and there's usually at least one hometown that ends on an ominous note, and the preview ahead is suggesting that that could happen with Nate.
It turned into this whole family dynamic.
He's never been in a relationship.
So something is causing Nate to get emotional as he talks about the night turning into a quote, family dynamic. We'll see what that actually turns out to be. I'm always guarded during these previews, as sometimes they can take something that looks to be a happy emotion, plop some dramatic music on top of it, and make it look bad. But Nate hiding in his coat right here, I don't know if that's a happy emotion kind of thing. And yes, this is Nate's mom right here, saying he's never been in a relationship before, as we can see from this earlier shot. On top of that, ahead we're getting a shot of Nate's stepdad saying he's quote, not there yet when it comes to an engagement, so let's take a look.
Do you think you're ready to propose?
It's a red flag.
Do you feel like he could be ready for an engagement?
He's not there yet. I don't want him to hurt himself or you.
So this moment with Michelle asking this man if his son is ready for an engagement is indeed with Nate's stepdad, as we talked about last week. We can see Michelle and him in their same outfits right here. We also get a little bit of Joe drama with a "do you think you're ready to propose?" but Joe, along with Rodney, really seem to get off the hook this preview. But the one thing that I want to talk about is right after this section with Joe, where Michelle says this.
It's a red flag.
The reason why I want to talk about Michelle saying something's a red flag is I'm wondering if that actually gets said next episode. We know that the Bachelor editors often use sound bites and clips from all over the place to get the proper edit they want. And last week, with the extended mid-season preview, a poster from Reddit made a strange observation. Check out this clip from the end of last week's preview.
I will be heartbroken.
Now, check out this clip from Katie's season preview.
It was all for nothing.
It's the same crying. Here are the clips again, played back to back. Props to the user who made this observation, and as I see it, this is even further proof that they're trying to throw us off from the reality that here, Michelle is being proposed to. But the funny thing is, we also don't know if that soundbite from before is actually even of Katie crying. They could have plopped on crying from anyone on any season for all we know. Heck, that could be the sound of some Bachelor intern caught sobbing on their first day of the job, and they decided to put it in the previews. So Michelle saying it's a red flag could be from next episode, could be from Matt James's season for all we know. I guess we'll see. But there's a tiny bit of preview left, so let's take a look and then talk about next elimination.
I don't want him to hurt himself or you.
I feel nauseous.
And that's where the preview ends, with what looks to be Michelle sending someone home. Now that person is going to be Rodney. Last video we spotted Michelle here in the same dress as this Minneapolis send-off, and in the corner we see a head that looks a lot like Rodney's. We also know that the rest of the season after Hometowns takes place in Mexico, and there's footage of Nate, Joe, and Brandon there. As for Rodney, nothing. So unfortunately, Rodney is going to be the one headed home. But I truly hope, even though it won't be this season, we'll still get to see Rodney storm the beaches of Mexico on Bachelor in Paradise. So that's it for this preview breakdown for Week 7 and Hometowns. I hope you enjoyed it, give the video a like if you did, and for all my American viewers, have a happy Thanksgiving weekend. We'll see how the hometown drama actually plays out next Tuesday, and until next time, Bachelor Fantake, out.
he's not there yet. I don't want him to hurt himself or you.
I feel nauseous.